Good morning. Good morning, and good morning, YouTube. I was flipping through to see how much more of this book. So we are good morning, sunshines. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Organized Chaos. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I'm not listening. I just come up here and do my thing. And I'm doing it really early this morning because I have a really busy day today. Because it is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day of Recognition. And I am going to do some things and take care of my children and my family today. So that is what I'm doing today. And before I get started with my actual day, I wanted to come live and read chapter 7, Portals into the Unmanifested. And then, work comes back tomorrow. And then, so I probably won't be back until next weekend. Well, this weekend, because it's Monday. It's Monday. I got a free day off, y'all. Hey, Nola, girl. Good morning, sunshine. Wait, where's my mouse? Over there. Bring it over here. Hey, boo. Good morning. Okay, so look. I was with my girl Foxy yesterday, and she told me that. So I got to go to your channel. I listen. I don't do a lot. I got to watch. She told me you got a court show that you do now, Nola. I got to see it. She said it's hilarious. I feel like I sound like I'm nasally. I don't have a cold, but I am drinking my tea. Y'all make sure y'all drink some water today. A whole lot of it. Make sure you eat some fruit and vegetables today. Stay away from all that bread. Stay away from them donuts. You know what I'm saying? Stay away from the candy and the snacks. You only get one time on this planet. Just it. That's it. That's all. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Whatever you put in your body. I got to remember to take this banner off. Girl, the banner is still on there. Take the banner off. Okay. Yeah, y'all. Take care of yourself. Put good things in your body. Put good things in your mind. Yeah. You only get one time. Only one time. Yeah, I got to come check you out, Nola. She told me about your court show. So yeah, I want to see it. I think she said it was hilarious. All right, y'all. This chapter is not that as long. I looked at chapter 8, the next one that I got to read this coming weekend. That one is long. So I'm going to do that one on the day because, girl, I'm looking at it. That one is twice today's chapter. It goes from page 145 to page 176. Yeah. Today's chapter goes from page 129 to 144. So that's not bad. That's not bad. All right. I heard Nola. I want to see it. I gotta watch it. I'm gonna try to check it out later after I run my errands and take care of my family today. I'm gonna try to come home before I fall asleep and watch it because I gotta get some new content creators to watch. Not that you're new because I'm already subscribed to you, but I don't know if you probably don't know. Anyway, my favorite is it's a man, you know. And so he's gone. And I miss seeing a lot. I miss his content, his knowledge, his wisdom. Yeah. So anyway, anywho, I'll be over there checking you out soon, Nola. All right. So where do I want this to be? Give me a second. I don't like the mic is cutting off access to the book. All right. That's better. All right. Portals into the unmanifested. Going deeply into the body. I can feel the energy inside my body, especially in my arms and legs, but I don't seem to be able to go more deeply as you suggested earlier. So remember yesterday we were talking about being still, being present, and this is an exercise that I would do in dance class at the very beginning, especially with my adults. Have them lay out in the floor, arms not touching, just out on the ground, legs apart, and you close your eyes and you breathe in deeply through your nose and you exhale through your mouth. And then I would give cues and I would have them sink. Every time they exhale, they will sink deeper into the ground. so much so that the ground would cover and encapsulate them. And I would tell them to take themselves to a place, any place, any place that they've dreamed of, imagined, somewhere maybe they've been to in their life, they've had thoughts about, they've researched, any place. It could be a beach, it could be water, it could be your favorite, whatever, anywhere in your mind that you wanted to go. And then I would tell them to bring along and feel the energy in their fingers and their toes and their legs from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet before I would bring them back and we would get dance class started. Little did I know then that I was doing mindful work unconsciously with my dancers, right? And so Eckhart talked about that in chapter 6 yesterday. And so that's what this question is getting into. So the answer is make it into a meditation. It needn't take long. 10 to 15 minutes of clock time should be sufficient. Make sure first that there are no external distractions, such as telephones or people who are likely to interrupt you. So, kind of like turn the world off, turn your ringers off, give yourself time, give yourself space to block everybody out and be selfish with you. Sit on a chair, but don't lean back. Keep the spine erect. Doing so will help you to stay alert. Alternatively, choose your own favorite position for meditation. I enjoy laying out for my meditation, making sure my palms are open to the world to receive the energy and my body is just open and ready. I feel like if I'm sitting, part of me is closed off because of the shape of the body. If I'm laying flat on the ground, my whole body is open to the energy of the universe. Make sure the body is relaxed. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. Feel yourself breathing into the lower abdomen, as it were. Observe how it expands and contracts slightly with each in and out breath. That's the breathing in through the nose and letting that breath out through your mouth. Then become aware of the entire inner energy field of the body. Don't think about it, feel it. By doing this, you reclaim consciousness from the mind. If you find it helpful, use the light visualization I described earlier. Remember, he talked about seeing that glow of light around yourself. When you can feel the inner body clearly as a single field of energy, let go, if possible, of any visual image and focus exclusively on the feeling. If you can, also drop any mental image you may still have of the physical body. All that is left then is an all encompassing sense of presence or beingness, and the inner body is felt to be without a boundary. Then take your attention even more deeply into that feeling. Become one with it. Merge with the energy field so that there is no longer a perceived duality of the observer and the observed, of you and your body. The distinction between inner and outer also dissolves now. So there is no inner body anymore. By going deeply into the body, you have transcended the body. Stay in this realm of pure being for as long as feels comfortable. Then become aware again of the physical body, your breathing and physical senses, and open your eyes. And so when I would bring my dancers out of their oneness with their body, I would tell them to slowly come back into their body. Again, I was doing this in my 20s, y'all. I had no idea what I was doing. It could have been because another dance teacher taught it to me, but I was doing this type of work unconsciously. How deep? Like, that's deep. I didn't know. But yeah, I was doing it. Look at your surroundings for a few minutes in a meditative way, that is, without labeling them mentally, and continue to feel the inner body as you do so. Continue to feel the inner body as you do so. As you come back into your consciousness, feel feel your inner self. I'll tell you what happened yesterday. Child, I got a story for everything. I don't be trying to put y'all all up in my business though, but I'll share this. Nola says I need to work on my meditation. I think so. One of the things that I find interesting about meditation is, for me, I don't have a way that I meditate, right? Like my meditation is throughout the day. I don't just meditate first thing in the morning. I don't just meditate in the middle of the day. I don't just meditate in the evening. I meditate consistently throughout the day, periodically throughout the day. So, one of my routines when I wake up in the morning is that I give thanks. I thank God for waking me up. I thank God. I thank Jesus. I thank the Holy Spirit. I thank the universe. And I thank my ancestors. Every single morning and every single night, I thank those 5 beings for me being in general. And then I breathe. I breathe. I think I don't really remember dreams necessarily. So I'm not reflecting on my night's sleep because I sleep really well. I just don't sleep long. And I go to sleep so early because like now it's 5 o'clock. I've been up since 1:30, y'all. But I went to bed at like 7 last night. So my sleep schedule is just different. But that's my morning mantra, meditation, whatever you want to call it. And then I sit still and I sip my coffee, I eat my apple, and I process or unpack maybe things that happened throughout the day before, things that may have affected me that I need to come to grips with, forgive myself for, think about the behaviors of others, and then I think about the day that I have today. And then I get my day started. And then periodically throughout the day, something can happen. And one of the phrases I catch myself saying at work a lot is, Jesus. Literally, y'all. Things happen at work, and I'll be like, Jesus. And I have no shame. I say it right out loud, Jesus. And I find that Jesus is my meditation moment. It doesn't last long. It is how I move through an event that probably shook the shit out of me, right? Like something that I just didn't even see coming. I just be like, Jesus. And I keep going. And that's my call. That's my meditation. That is my help. Help me. I don't stay there for long, but I know I need some help in this because I've never seen anything like this. Lord, can you help me? Help your girl out. What do you need me to do? How do you need me to move right now in this moment? And so I do that periodically throughout the day. I reflect a lot. One of the things that I will do is, and I don't, I think this is reflective of just life in general. Apologies are huge, right? And apologies are more for you, I'm learning, than for the other person. The other person does not ever have to accept an apology. It's for you because it's a growth area that you've acknowledged that you need, or you messed up, or your humanness got in the way of you at that moment. I apologize to my children a lot. If you've never apologized to your kids, why? As a human being, how can you not apologize to other human beings, especially the ones that you brought into the world? The humans that you helped usher into this universe don't belong to you. They're a gift loaned to you, and they're here to help grow you. And you're going to mess up along that way because there is no handbook for the parenting part of life. And so when you mess up, when you see yourself in your humanity, do you apologize to your children? That's meditation. When you can sit back and see your wrongs with your kids and apologize for them, you've meditated. You've meditated because you thought about it. You thought about the errors of your ways. That's really for me what meditation is. It's reflection. How do you reflect? When do you reflect? So I don't have like a meditation 15 minutes a day. That's like dieting. Girl, why is stuff coming up on my computer? I don't want that. Yeah. It has to be a lifelong practice. It can't be like a one and done. But you got to start somewhere. So if 5, 10 allotted minutes helps you get to the longer, do that. Okay? All right. Having access to the formless realm is truly liberating. It frees you from bondage to form and identification with form. It is life in its undifferentiated state prior to its fragmentation into multiplicity. We may call it unmanifested, the invisible source of all things, the being within all beings. It is a realm of deep stillness and peace, but also of joy and intense aliveness. Whenever you are present, you become transparent, to some extent, to the light, the pure consciousness that emanates from this source. You also realize that the light is not separate from who you are, but it constitutes your very essence. It just means you are the light. Find it within yourself. Turn your light on and don't be ashamed of your light. Whatever is in you, don't let people shame you. Don't let somebody shame you for your gifts. Humanness will want to shame you for gifts that you have, that God gave you. Because humans have this thing called jealousy and envy that reside in them. Every single one of us. When I talk about human beings being human, I don't exclude myself. We all have that capability, but we also have the capability to be aware of it and to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Flat out. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. When you feel jealousy, check yourself. Like, girl, please, what you jealous of? What are you envious of? You have the ability to manifest whatever you want in life. You have the ability to make your life into whatever it is, despite whatever circumstances you come through or got through. Your oneness, your godness that lives in you has the ability to be whatever it is you desire. Whatever that is. Don't be jealous of others. Manifest your greatness, your goodness for you. The source of chi is the unmanifested, what in the East is called chi, a kind of universal life energy. No, it isn't. The unmanifested is the source of the chi. Chi is the inner energy field of your body. It is the bridge between the outer you and the source. It lies halfway between the manifested, the world of form, out here, and the unmanifested, in here. Chi can be likened to a river or an energy stream. If you take the focus of your consciousness deeply into the inner body, you are tracing the course of this river back to its source. Chi is movement. The unmanifested is stillness. When you reach a point of absolute stillness, which is nevertheless vibrant with life, you have gone beyond the inner body and beyond the chi to the source itself, the unmanifested. Chi is the link between the unmanifested and the physical universe. So you have the unmanifested, this thing that doesn't exist yet, the chi, which can help you get to the manifestation of this thing and make it a reality. So if you take your attention deeply into the inner body, you may reach this point, this singularity, where the world dissolves into the unmanifested And the unmanifested takes on form as the energy stream of chi, which then becomes the world. This is the point of birth and death. When your consciousness is directed outward, mind and world arise. When it is directed inward, it realizes its own source and returns home into the unmanifested. Then, when your consciousness comes back to the manifested world, you reassume the form identity that you temporarily relinquished. You have a name, a past, a life situation, a future. But in one essential respect, you are not the same person you were before. You will have glimpses. You will have glimpsed a reality within yourself that is not of this world, although it isn't separate from it, just as it isn't separate from you. Now let your spiritual practice be this. As you go about your life, don't give 100% of your attention to the external world and to your mind. Keep some of that within yourself. I have spoken about this already. Feel the inner body even when engaged in everyday activities, especially when engaged in relationships or when you are relating with nature. Feel the stillness deep inside it. Keep the portal open. It is quite possible to be conscious of the unmanifested throughout your life. You feel it as a deep sense of peace somewhere in the background, a stillness that never leaves you, no matter what happens out here. You become a bridge between the unmanifested and the manifested, between God and the world. This is the state of connectedness with the source that we call enlightenment. Don't get the impression that the unmanifested is separate from the manifested. How could it be? It is the life within every form, the inner essence of all that exists. It pervades this world. Let me explain. I don't know if this analogy is 100% accurate as far as manifested and unmanifested. I have a love-hate relationship with food. I have a very addictive personality. I can go hard in the paint or I can totally abstain. It is what it is. There's kind of not like a in between moderated. If I want it, I want it all. If I know I can't do good with it all and it's going to be detrimental to who I am, I have to abstain. It's a light switch. So when you talk about manifested and unmanifested, when I am hard in the paint and eating terribly, things I shouldn't eat, I become heavier. My weight goes up. When I get into that comfortable weight zone and I'm not consciously thinking about what I'm putting into my body, doing what's best to maintain a healthy body, a healthy mind, a healthy way of thinking, or maybe I'm going through depression or some life event happened and I just want to eat my feelings away. I become the unmanifested version of myself because the manifestation of myself is when I am consciously aware and doing right, eating right, working out right, drinking my water, eating my fruit and vegetables, having protein, being mindful. That's the manifestation. I become unmanifested. Both of those extremities are me. They both exist in me. They both vary from time to time, year to year, decade to decade. But they are both manifested and unmanifested are me. There's still a reality. I just don't always manifest my highest being at every point of life. And that goes for my thoughts, that goes for my actions. All of that is part of manifesting what it is that you want to see visually in this world. Debt. Let's talk about debt. I got a lot of it. And I'm good with flipping credit cards. Very good with the APR game. Very good with the APR game. The low APR, the 0% APR, flip, flip, flip. Use the higher, the lowers to pay the highers. Baby, you got to get that paid off in 6 months to 12 months. I know that game. I have done bankruptcy. I know it. My higher manifestation would like to save, right? That's the higher goal in general. But I don't always have the capability to save because life happens, right? Debt is part of that process. My higher manifestation is to be debt free eventually. Bars. But I'm not there yet. But it doesn't mean that until that manifestation happens, I'm not consciously aware. I'm not doing the work. I have to be aware of it so that I don't continue to dig myself into further debt. And then I have to manifest that thing that I know is inside of me, eventually becoming debt free. Dreamless sleep. You take a journey into the unmanifested every night when you enter the phase of deep, dreamless sleep. You merge with the source. You draw from it the vital energy that sustains you for a while when you return to the manifested, the world of separate forms. This energy is much more vital than food. Man does not live by bread alone. But in dreamless sleep, you don't go into it consciously. Although the bodily functions are still operating, you no longer exist in that state. Can you imagine what it would be like to go into dreamless sleep with full consciousness? It is impossible to imagine it because that state has no context. The unmanifested does not liberate you until you enter it consciously. That's why Jesus did not say, the truth will make you free, but rather, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. This is not a conceptual truth. It is the truth of eternal life beyond form, which is known directly or not at all. But don't attempt to stay conscious in dreamless sleep. It is highly unlikely that you will succeed. At most, you may remain conscious during the dream phase, but not beyond that. This is called lucid dreaming, which may be interesting and fascinating, but it's not liberating. So use your inner body as a portal through which you enter the unmanifested, and keep that portal open so that you can stay connected with the source at all times. It makes no difference as far as the inner body is concerned, whether your outer physical body is old or young, frail or strong. The inner body is timeless. If you are not yet able to feel the inner body, use one of the other portals, although ultimately they are all one. Some I have spoken about at length already, but I'll mention them again briefly here. Other portals. The now can be seen as the main portal. It is an essential aspect of every other portal, including the inner body. You cannot be in your body without being intensely present in the now. Time and the manifested are as inextricably linked as are the timeless. Now and the unmanifested. When you dissolve psychological time through intense present moment awareness, you become conscious of the unmanifested, both directly and indirectly. Directly, you feel it as the radiance and power of your conscious presence. No content, just presence. Indirectly, you are aware of the unmanifested in and through the sensory realm. In other words, you feel the God essence in every creature, every flower, every stone, and you realize all that is holy. That was my that's all I saw this summer. As I became more mindful and present, I told y'all, every time I go outside now, I speak to the cats and the trees and the flowers and the grass. It is all, we are all of that. We are all of it. We are a global, united consciousness. When you point your finger at the worst of us, you have three fingers pointing back at you, telling you and showing you you are no better. You cannot judge anything because everything that is happening is by design. Everything that is happening, it is perfect and it is in order, whether you like it and agree with it or not. The universe is doing exactly what it is intended to do in every single aspect. You don't get to choose and pick the parts that are good aspects or bad aspects. It is all universal consciousness that we are all a part of. Every single rock, every blade of grass, every hair on your head, even the glutean tracks and weaves of it all. It is all by design, and it is all on purpose, and it is all with a purpose. This is why Jesus, speaking entirely from his essence or Christ's identity, says in the Gospel of Thomas, split a piece of wood, I am there. Lift up a stone, and you will find me there. Because the essence is everywhere. Y'all want to be mad at Vladimir Putin? Guess what? He is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Oh my gosh, but he's over in Ukraine doing all these terrible things on purpose, with a purpose, universal consciousness. We all have that capability to kill, steal, destroy, either physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. We are all part of the terribleness of society, none better than the other. Another portal into the unmanifested is created through the cessation of thinking. This can start with a very simple thing, such as taking one conscious breath or looking in a state of intense alertness at a flower, so that there is no mental commentary running at the same time. There are many ways to create a gap in the incessant stream of thought. This is what meditation is all about. Thought is part of the realm of the manifested. Continuous mind activity keeps you imprisoned in the world of form and becomes an opaque screen that prevents you from becoming conscious of the unmanifested consciousness of the formless and timeless God essence in yourself and in all things and all creatures. When you are intensely present, you don't need to be concerned about the cessation of thinking. Of course, because the mind then stops automatically. That's why I say the now is an essential aspect of every portal. Surrender. The letting go of mental, emotional resistance to what is also becomes a portal into the unmanifested. The reason for this is simple. Inner resistance cuts you off from other people, from yourself, from the world around you. It strengthens the feeling of separateness on which the ego depends for its survival. This reminds me of people who can't forgive and move on in life. People who hold grudges. People who live in the past. If your past is running your now, you got work to do. If you don't have enough emotional intelligence to let go of your past hurt, pain, and trauma, go get a therapist. Find somebody to talk to. Find somebody that can listen to you so you can stop beating yourself up about a life that no longer exists. If you are holding others accountable for your past pain and hurt about a life that you feel you should have or could have had if A, B, C, and D would have did X, Y, and Z, you need help. You need therapy and you need some medication, very likely. No, I'm sorry, but you might. Stop holding yourself hostage. Stop holding your mind in a mental cage, in a mental jail cell that you've turned the key and thrown away because it feels good to live in pain. Some people enjoy the pain body of life. Some people enjoy the toxicity of their minds. Some people play a recording of things that they feel were done wrong to them. And that is how they live their present life. And they let this moment escape them. The beautifulness of the birds singing, the trees swaying in the wind, the grass growing. They can't even see it because they are so mad and hurt by their past. The stronger the feeling of separateness, the more you are bound to the manifested, to the world of separate forms. The more you are bound to the world of form, the harder and more impenetrable your form identity becomes. The portal is closed, and you are cut off from the inner dimension, the dimension of depth. In the state of surrender, your form identity softens and becomes somewhat transparent, as it were, so the unmanifested can shine through you. It's up to you to open a portal in your life that gives you conscious access to the unmanifested. Get in touch with the energy field of the inner body. Be intensely present. Disidentify from the mind. Surrender to what is. These are all portals that you can use, but you only need to use one. Surely love must be one of those portals. I haven't read the next paragraph yet, but I think that's a no. No, girl. Because first of all, as human beings, we all define love differently. There is no different definition of being present. There's no different definition of living in the now. There's no difference in definition of understanding your inner being. But love, everybody is loved differently. There's a whole, what's the knowing your love language? Some people are givers, some people are receivers, some people are acts of kindness. Like love is based on man-made's definition. So let's see what Eckhart says. Eckhart said, no, it isn't. This little brave child, this thing is driving me crazy. I'm sorry, y'all. It keeps falling in my face. I should have pinned it, but I don't have a pen. No, it isn't. As soon as one of the portals is open, love is present in you as the feeling realization of oneness. Love isn't a portal. It's what comes through the portal into this world. As long as you are completely trapped in your form identity, there can be no love. Your task is not to search for love, but to find a portal through which love can enter. Because love is different for everybody. Hey, learning! Good morning, learning! Good morning! Hey, sis. Good morning, sunshine. Child, I'll be sneaking on here on the weekends now. Kind of early because I got stuff to do all the time. But hey, boo, I missed you. How you been? How's life? What's going on? Anything new? Talk to me. Talk to me in the chat while I'm reading. You know, I'm reading, but I like to chat. All right, silence. Are there any other portals apart from those you just mentioned? Yes, there are. The unmanifested is not separate from the manifested. It pervades this world, but it is so well disguised that almost everybody misses it completely. If you know where to look, you'll find it everywhere. A portal opens up every moment. Good morning, missed you too. Thanks, boo. Happy New Year to you. We made it. We made it into 2023. We got work to do still. Since we made it across this bridge, we still need it here. We gotta keep doing our thing. Do you hear that dog barking in the distance or that car passing by? Listen carefully. Can you feel the presence of the unmanifested in that? Okay, y'all, now I got to tell a story. So I told y'all about the stray cats in my neighborhood, right? I finally I realized it's still the universe. Get out your feelings. The cats are here. The neighbors are gonna feed them. And now I speak to the cats. Literally, I'm not gonna feed the cats. That's not my thing. That's not my energy. But they're here. So I speak to the cats. I talk to the cats. There's another thing that happens. Maybe 2 or 3 houses down from me, I have neighbors that have dogs. They have 2 dogs. And the dogs live in the backyard. And it's heartbreaking because the dogs are tied up to a tree. And I don't even think there's a dog house back there, y'all. So the dogs are tied up to either a tree or a post. And I think the neighbors got sick of people being able to see. So they started building a fence so you can't really see back there anymore, but you can still hear the dogs. When I tell you the dogs are tied up outside, I'm not saying that the neighbors take the dogs out daily and tie them up. What I'm saying is that the dogs live in the elements 24/7, and it is heartbreaking. The dogs cry day and night. It is cruel. It is heartbreaking. They don't even cry loud anymore. And I think maybe it's been at least 2 years. Nope. Unless it's new, I haven't seen a doghouse. And they're always chained up. The dogs are always chained up. They don't run free in the backyard. They're chained up. I think when they first got them, one of the baby dogs, when it was a puppy, had like the chain had been hooked around the neck. And I was just like I want to stay in my lane. I want to mind my business. And so now every time I go outside, besides the fact that and I know people are like, she's such a weirdo, and I'm fine with that. Besides the fact that I talk to the stray cats and the bugs and the insects and the birds and the bees and the grass and the trees, I have conversations with the dogs. Not that they can hear me, but I know the universe can hear me, right? The energy can hear me. And so when I hear the dogs crying, I just say, I'm sorry, you guys. I wish I could help. Like it's not much I can do. I'm sorry. And I know that like some things are what they are. It is what it is. I acknowledge them though. I talk to them. And I pray for them. I meditate for them. But it's sad. And they are miserable, like babies. And like at this point, I'm like, are they supposed to be guarding your house? Because if they're locked up, they can't help guard your house. They're not going to stop somebody from entering your home because the chains don't even go that far. So it's just like you have these dogs because I don't know. I don't know other human beings' consciousness. I don't know other human beings why they do the things that they do. But it's reality. They should be turned in. Those dogs deserve better. We call, we call, nothing happens. A long time ago, maybe 5 years or so ago, I had a neighbor who had a dog. They used to sit outside my window and scream and holler all times of the night. My neighbors were rowdy. The dog would bark all night, wake me up out of my sleep. I would ask the neighbors to stop it. The lady cussed me out one time because I asked her to stop her dog. Like, girl, I'm like, I gotta go to work. She cussed me out from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet because I asked her to put her dog up. hmm That is the energy that happens. And they do deserve better. But it's so much of it learning. It's not unique. People are cruel. Human beings are cruel. Do you hear that dog barking in the distance or that car passing by? Listen carefully. Can you feel the presence of the unmanifested in that? You can't? Look for it in the silence out of which the sounds come and into which they return. Pay more attention to the silence than to the sounds. Paying attention to outer silence creates inner silence. The mind becomes still. A portal is opening up. Every sound is born out of silence, dies back into silence, and during its lifespan is surrounded by silence. Silence enables the sound to be. It is an intrinsic but unmanifested part of every sound, every musical note, every song, every word. The unmanifested is present in this world as silence. This is why it has been said that nothing in this world is so like God as silence. All you have to do is pay attention to it. Even during a conversation, become conscious of the gaps between words, the brief, silent intervals between sentences. As you do that, the dimension of stillness grows within you. You cannot pay attention to silence without simultaneously becoming still within. Silence without, stillness within. You have entered the unmanifested. As an educator, as a teacher, there is a thing that professionals, teachers learn to do, and that's to give kids wait time. And you have to practice it because teachers want to teach. We want to get the information out. But as you become more astute or more attuned to your teaching practices, your philosophy, and how to better manage your classroom, one of the things that you will learn is wait time. Wait time is helpful as a teacher. It's helpful as a human being. It's helpful in relationships in general. When you incorporate wait time into your life, watch your understanding and others' understandings clear up. It gives you the space to think and to process information. It gives you the space to absorb what happened and what was said. In that silence and in that stillness and in that wait time, the wheels are spinning, thinking. And then the manifestation of knowledge can occur in your classroom, in your conversations, in your relationships. Clarity can be gained through that silence, through that wait time, that pause, that reflection gives you the ability to unpack the information that you just received. If you give people a second to think and stop bombarding them with words, if you, I'll say this. I'm trying to think of how to say this. I don't know a lot about the beef sector. There are pockets of beef-like sectors on YouTube. When you beef on YouTube, your goal is to dominate. Your goal is to not give your opponent or the other person the opportunity to think and to respond. That is the opposite of being present. That is the opposite of living in the now. That is the opposite of silence. Because your goal is to verbally spar and to win a fight. When you are in the now, there is no winning, there is no losing. It is absorbing, it is reflection, and it is growth. Space. Just as no sound can exist without silence, nothing can exist without no thing, without the empty space that enables it to be. Every physical object or body has come out of nothing, is surrounded by nothing, and will eventually return to nothing. Not only that, but even inside every physical body, there is far more nothing than something. Physicists tell us that the solidity of matter is an illusion. Even seemingly solid matter, including your physical body, is nearly 100% empty space. So vast are the distances between the atoms compared to their size. What is more, even inside every atom, there is mostly empty space. What is left is more like a vibrational frequency than particles of solid matter, more like a musical note. Buddhists have known that for over 2,500 years. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form, states the Heart Sutra, one of the best known ancient Buddhist texts. The essence of all things is emptiness. The unmanifested is not only present in this world as silence, it also pervades the entire physical universe as space, from within and without. This is just as easy to miss as silence. Everybody pays attention to the things in space, but who pays attention to the space itself? You seem to be implying that emptiness or nothing is not just nothing, that there is some mysterious quality to it. What is nothing? You cannot ask such a question. Your mind is trying to make nothing into something because, the human beings, we like to categorize, put things in certain understandings to help us clearly understand. We like to theorize. We like to write dissertations about our thoughts on things that we have no knowledge or awareness of. We like to make judgments on people that we don't even know in real life because human beings being human. The moment you make it into something, you have missed it. Nothing, space, is the appearance of the unmanifested as an externalized phenomenon in a sense perceived world. That's about as much as one can say about it. And even that is a kind of a paradox. It cannot become an object of knowledge. You can't do a PhD on nothing. When scientists study space, they usually make it into something and thereby miss its essence entirely. Not surprisingly, the latest theory is that space isn't empty at all, that it is filled with some substance. Once you have a theory, it's not too hard to find evidence to substantiate it, at least until some other theory comes along. Nothing can only become a portal into the unmanifested for you if you don't try to grasp or understand it. Isn't that what we're doing here? Not at all. I'm giving you pointers to show you how you can bring the dimension of the unmanifested into your life. We are not trying to understand it. There is nothing to understand. Space has no existence. To exist literally means to stand out. You cannot understand space because it doesn't stand out. Although in itself it has no existence, it enables everything else to exist. Silence has no existence either, nor does the unmanifested. So, what happens if you withdrew attention from the objects in space and became aware of space itself? What is the essence of this room? The furniture, pictures, the screen, the lights, me, the floor, walls, ceiling define the boundary of the room, but they are not the room either. So, what is the essence of the room? Space, of course, empty space. There will be no room without it. Since space is nothing, we can say that what is not there is more important than what is there. So become aware of the space that is all around you. Don't think about it, feel it. As it were, pay attention to nothing. As you do that, a shift in consciousness takes place inside you. Here's why. The inner equivalent to objects in space, such as furniture, walls, and so on, are your mind objects, thoughts, emotions, and the objects of the senses. And the inner equivalent of space is the consciousness that enables your mind objects to be, just as space allows all things to be. So if you withdraw attention from things, objects in space, you automatically withdraw your attention from your mind objects as well. In other words, you cannot think and be aware of space or of silence. For that matter, by becoming aware of the empty space around you, you simultaneously become aware of the space of no mind, of pure consciousness, the unmanifested. This is how the contemplation of space can become a portal for you. Space and silence are two aspects of the same thing, the same no thing. They are an externalization of inner space and inner silence, which is stillness, the infinitely creative womb of all existence. Most humans are completely unconscious of this dimension. There is no inner space, no stillness. They are out of balance. In other words, they know the world, or they think that they do, but they don't know God. They identify exclusively with their own physical and psychological form, unconscious of essence. And because every form is highly unstable, they live in fear. This fear causes a deep misperception of themselves and of other humans, a distortion of their vision of the world. When we talk about hurting people, it's because there's some type of fear underneath that hurt. When we talk about people just being mean in general, or their spirits being unkind, there's fear underneath all of that. Maybe fear of being found out, maybe fear of being exposed for something lesser than they've created themselves to be. We live in an era or a generation where clout is the new cash. Clicks, likes, views are the new way to success in this space. And people will do anything to get it because unconsciously they are not aware of their energy, of their inner being, of their godness. If some cosmic convulsion brought about the end of our world, the unmanifested will remain totally unaffected by this. A Course in Miracles expresses this truth pointedly. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. If you remain in conscious connection with the unmanifested, you value, love, and deeply respect the manifested in every life form in it as an expression of the one life beyond form. You also know that every form is destined to dissolve again, and that ultimately nothing out here matters all that much. You have overcome the world. In the words of Jesus, or as the Buddha put it, you have crossed over to the other shore. The true nature of space and time. Now consider this. If there were nothing but silence, it wouldn't exist for you. You wouldn't know what it is. Only when sound appears does silence come into being. Similarly, if there were only space without any objects in space, it wouldn't exist for you. Think about it. If there were no stars in the sky, would you notice the space? If there were no moon at night, would you notice the space? Probably not. Imagine yourself as a point of consciousness floating in the vastness of space. No stars, no galaxies, just emptiness. Suddenly, space wouldn't be vast anymore. It would not be there at all. There would be no speed, no movement from here to there. At least 2 points of reference are needed for distance and space to come into being. Space comes into being the moment the one becomes two, and as two become the 10,000 things, as Lao Tse calls the manifested world. Space becomes more and more vast, so world and space arise simultaneously. Nothing could be without space, yet space is nothing. Before the universe came into being, before the Big Bang, if you like, there wasn't a vast empty space waiting to be filled. There was no space, as there was no thing. There was only the unmanifested, the one. When the one became the 10,000 things, suddenly space seemed to be there and enabled the many to be. Where did it come from? Was it created by God to accommodate the universe? Of course not. Space is nothing. So it was never created. Go out on a clear night and look up at the sky. The thousands of stars you can see with the naked eye are no more than an infinitesimal fraction of what is there. Over 100 billion galaxies can already be detected with the most powerful telescopes. Each galaxy, an island universe with billions of stars. Yet what is even more awe-inspiring is the infinity of space itself, the depth and stillness that allows all of that magnificence to be. Nothing could be more awe-inspiring and majestic than the inconceivable vastness and stillness of space. And yet, what is it? Emptiness, vast emptiness. What appears to us as space in our universe, perceived through the mind and the senses, is the unmanifested itself, externalized. It is the body of God. And the greatest miracle is this: that stillness and vastness that enables the universe to be is not just out there in space. It is also within you. It is within me. When you are utterly and totally present, you encounter it as the still inner space of no mind. Within you, it is vast in depth, not an extension. Spatial extension is ultimately a misperception of infinite depth, an attribute of the one transcendental reality. I just had a thought. When you are engaged in conversation with another human being, monitor your response. Monitor your response time. Are you the type of person that can't let another person get a word in edgewise? And every time someone else starts to speak or respond, you cut them off. If you cannot hear from another human being, sit with it, breathe in it, and be still in it. And you always have to counteract everything somebody says to you. You are not doing the work of being in the now. You are not manifesting your highest being because you can't hear. If you can't hear, you can't learn. If you can't learn, you can't grow. Pay attention to it. You might be surprised if you catch yourself always needing to respond, always needing to say, but, or cutting people off. According to Einstein, space and time are not separate. I don't really understand it, but I think he is saying that time is the fourth dimension of space. He calls it the space-time continuum. Yes, what you perceive externally as space and time are ultimately illusory, but they contain a core of truth. They are the two essential attributes of God: infinity and eternity, perceived as if they had an external existence outside you. Within you, both space and time have an inner equivalent that reveals their true nature, as well as your own. Whereas space is the still, infinitely deep realm of no mind, the inner equivalent of time is presence, awareness of the eternal now. Remember that there is no distinction between them. When space and time are realized within as the unmanifested, no mind and presence, external space and time continue to exist for you, but they become much less important. The world, too, continues to exist for you, but it will not bind you anymore. Hence, the ultimate purpose of the world lies not within the world, but in transcendence of the world. Just as you would not be conscious of space if there were no objects in space, the world is needed for the unmanifested to be realized. You may have heard the Buddhist saying, if there were no illusion, there would be no enlightenment. It is through the world and ultimately through you that the unmanifested knows itself. You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. Conscious death. Apart from dreamless sleep, which I mentioned already, there is one other involuntary portal. It opens up briefly at the time of physical death. Even if you have missed all the other opportunities for spiritual realization during your lifetime, one last portal will open up for you immediately after the body has died. Okay, y'all, this is new for me, so let's learn together. There are countless accounts by people who had a visual impression of this portal as radiant light and then returned from what is commonly known as a near-death experience. Many of them also spoke of a sense of blissful serenity and deep peace. Okay. Woo. Okay. Have a story to share. So, I have low blood pressure. I had low blood pressure my entire life. Every time I go to the doctor asks me, do you have headaches? No, I just have really low blood pressure. Never thought twice about it. Until recently. Over the past year or so, I've had 3 fainting spells. The first time it happened, I honestly didn't think much of it. Maybe I was doing something goofy, passed out, who knows. Second time it happened, I was in Las Vegas. I had walked like 10 miles in the middle of the day. Don't do that. It's too hot for that in Vegas in the summertime. But I did. Came back, had to stand in line for the buffet, hit the floor. I felt it happening. Didn't know what happened after that. The third time it happened, I was home. Had just gotten out the shower, walking up the stairs. I felt like darkness was doing this. It was just coming in, slowly coming in. And the only thing I could think in that moment was, number one, Lord, please don't let my son find me like this if this is it for me. I did not want my son to walk in the house and see me laid out, gone from this life with a towel wrapped around me, getting out the shower. And that night, it happened a few times. And the last time I can remember consciously it happening, when that darkness was encapsulating me again and I felt myself going down, I said, the thought in my head was, if this is it, if this is the end for me, it's very peaceful. If this is how life ends, I felt peace. It was just darkness. I didn't feel I was going to another side or any. It just felt like the lights were getting turned off slowly, and that was going to be it. It was so interesting. Child. Learning. I have extremities that I live. I go hard or I don't go hard. When I'm on my working out, eating right, I'm on it. And, I've been on it since the road to 50. And now that I'm here, I want to maintain what I worked for to get back here, because I do it every 10 years, every decade. Got to lose the weight. Then I get comfortable, and then I put the weight back on slowly but surely. Then I got to lose 30 pounds again because I'm about to turn another big number. I don't want to do that this time. If God willing, I make it to 60. I want to stay here as I enter 60. I don't want to have no big, oh, no, I got to lose weight again, because I really didn't think I was going to lose it when I turned 50. But I did. God was like, you get another chance, girl. Keep it off. So that's what I'm trying to do. But yes, I took myself right outside in the middle of the day in Vegas and walked 10 miles in the scorching heat. My tan was popping though. And as Sinfo would say, my Oscar award winning passing out in line at the buffet got us cuts. And we got into the buffet much faster. Ain't that terrible? Much faster than if we had to stand up in line. So it wasn't all bad that I passed out. The benefit was we got to take cuts and get our food early. Learning says I fainted before I had donated blood. After leaving the building, was at a McDonald's and felt the buzzing inside my head and a slow. That's what happened to me. It was just a slow fade. Like it was just, and the third time it happened, as it was happening, like it made me think about the first time. It made me think about Vegas. And then I thought about that time and I was like, okay, this cannot be the new normal. What if I'm driving down the street and it fades to black? I know it's going to be over. Like, absolutely not. And I went to the doctor. And so, yeah, now I drink Gatorade. She said the Gatorade will help, I guess, the electrolytes or something. I haven't had an incident since then. They can't find anything wrong. They've run every test. They've done all the blood work. And they're like, girl, you just got low blood. It's like, my blood pressure is so low. She was like, do you even eat salt? I'm like, girl, yeah. I like my food seasoned. I'm not no bland food eater, child. Put me some salt and pepper and all of the Lori seasoning that you got on it. Yes. That's how low my blood pressure is. It's low. Like, you all right? Are you still? I don't, much doesn't stress me out, and I just have low blood pressure. Yes, I was a fool, but we did get to eat, girl. That food was good too. We got right to the head of the line. We still probably had a good hour left in that line learning. Girl, we shot straight to the front. And what was so sweet about it, if we had to stay in line, we would have only got lunch. We were in line as the breakfast was transitioning to the lunch time. We were at the Wynn Hotel and breakfast was transitioning to lunch. So it's a certain time that if you get in there, you can get stuff from the breakfast part of the buffet and the lunch part of the buffet. Baby, we was in at exactly the right time. That Oscar award winning fainting that went down got us some good breakfast and lunch. I was eating. I ate that day. The Lord said eat. It's weird because you can feel it happening. You can see it. It was, I've never experienced anything like it in my life. And so like the first time it happened, I didn't pay attention to it. In Vegas, I didn't really pay attention to it. But when it happened again, I was finally conscious of it because it had happened twice before, right? So like in my mind is literally reflecting on the two previous incidents, and I'm quickly trying to unpack and get into my head like what is happening to me right now as these lights are going off inside my body and I'm shutting down. And literally the two thoughts, my son, Lord, please don't let him find me like this. That would have traumatized him to pieces. And if this is how it ends, it's peaceful. It was peaceful. All right, let's go back. Let's start this paragraph over. There are countless accounts by people who had a visual impression of this portal as radiant light and then returned from what is commonly known as a near-death experience. Many of them also spoke of a sense of blissful serenity and deep peace. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, it is described as the luminous splendor of the colorless light of emptiness, which is to say, your own true self. This portal opens up only very briefly, and unless you have already encountered the dimension of the unmanifested in your lifetime, you will likely miss it. Most people carry too much residual resistance, too much fear, too much attachment to sensory experience, too much identification with the manifested world. So they see the portal, turn away in fear, and then lose consciousness. Most of what happens after that is involuntary and automatic. Eventually, there will be another round of birth and death. Their presence wasn't strong enough yet for conscious immortality. So going through this portal does not mean annihilation. Hey, and Renee, good morning, sunshine, and happy new year. Thank you for being here. We're reading our book today. Let me see how many pages I got left, y'all. One. Oh, this is the last page. So we're almost done. I've been here for like almost an hour and a half. We're almost done. And I very likely won't be back until Saturday. It's hard for me to come during the week. And the next chapter, chapter 8, I don't know if I'm going to get through that chapter in one day because it is pretty long. And as we can see just from today, it's been an hour and a half and we still are just now wrapping up this one chapter. Yeah, so. But I appreciate you guys being here. I love you. Thank you. All right, last section of chapter 7. So going through this portal does not mean annihilation. As with all the other portals, your radiant true nature remains, but not the personality. In any case, whatever is real or true value in your personality is your true nature shining through. This is never lost. Nothing that is of value, nothing that is real is ever lost. Approaching death and death itself, the dissolution of the physical form, is always a great opportunity for spiritual realization. This opportunity is tragically missed most of the time, since we live in a culture that is almost totally ignorant of death, as it is almost totally ignorant of anything that truly matters. Every portal is a portal of death, the death of the false self. I'm going to read that again, y'all, because that's powerful. So we've talked about portals that connect you to your inner being, portals that connect you to your unconsciousness, portals that connect you to your godness so that you can manifest the unmanifested that is within you, the manifestation. And what he's saying here is every single portal that you dig into to find out who you are, there is some death that is happening to this external thought process that you have carried around. There is some growth that is happening within you. There are some cycles that you are breaking. There are some learned behaviors that you are changing. Every portal is a portal of death, the death of the false self. When you go through it, you cease to derive your identity from the psychological mind-made form. You cease to acknowledge that money is who you are. Wealth is who you are. Being a nasty ass person is who you are. Getting payback on people is who you are. Getting revenge is who you are. You die to that outer nest. You die to that old self. You awaken the new man, the God in you, and you materialize that, and that becomes your external presence. The end of the illusion. That's all that death is. It is painful only as long as you cling on to the illusions of life. Death is not painful. Death is not bad. Death is a part of your human experience. Every single human being will experience it. It is guaranteed. Just as soon as you are born, you begin to die. It is part of this journey that we are all on. In between your physical birth and your physical death, what else are you giving to this universe that you will one day leave behind? What is your legacy? Who are you? What is the consciousness that you will leave behind? I'll leave you with this. When I first started my new job, the opening day professional development, one of the questions that the new staff member asked me was, what planet do you want to go to? And I thought about it. And I could have Googled, I could have looked at the planets. Like, if you didn't live on Earth, where would you want to live? I thought about it. And what I said to myself during the thought process is, number one, I don't want to come back here. This is it. That's all. Even the reincarnations of it all don't much matter to me. Because if I come back as something else, I'm not going to know it no way. Right? So this is it. And that's all. So if I got to go to another planet, I'm not interested. I'm here. But what I do want to do is leave a legacy. I want to leave an essence of love, an essence of hope, an essence of peace, an essence of imperfection, being perfectly perfect. We are all flawed. We are all imperfect, but we are perfect in our imperfection. And we are all given the opportunity every day to do the work, to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. But we first have to acknowledge that we are a mess. We first have to be aware and awaken the greatness that resides within us. We first have to move from living in the past and letting it go and forgiving all of the past behaviors, the past people, the past hurt, the past pain. Acknowledge it. Forgive it. Forgive the others that caused you that hurt and that pain. And release it. And give yourself the space to grow beyond it. Give yourself the space to be an example. Be the thing that you needed. Be the person that you didn't have. Be all of that. Who are you? What did your inner child miss? What did your inner being need? It still needs it. Give it what it needs and give that to others. That is how you become the best version of yourself. That is how you live in the now. That is how you become present and aware. That is how you allow silence. That is how you grow and become empty. All right, y'all, I got to go get on my Peloton, Andrea. Hey, boo. Good morning, sunshine. I've been here for an hour and a half. I got a bike to ride. I got errands to run later today. I love y'all. I appreciate you all. You could be anywhere else, but here you are, either now or in the future. Mwah. I'm going to ride my bike.